I'm just curious about this. Could the totality of life be understood and the connection to the whole of life made without a new presentation? Because as you have intimated in certain occasions, life speaks to life, irrespective of religion or station in life or something like that. So I want to know, could the isness life is, could it have been understood, and the connection to the real connection to what life is made without knowing the new presentation?
Well, this is where you decide, Charles. In other words, life already knows itself. That's the isness life is. It already knows itself, you might say. We'll use that literal term. It already is what it is, okay? And so we each are in life, okay? We're experiencing whatever it is we're experiencing and deciding. So accordingly, you decide that. So you asked the question about the new presentation. Well, look at your experience. How do you see it? And that is that would there be a difference if I didn't present this with your life? Ask yourself. I don't have to answer that. The thing is that you answer it. All I've done is present it. That's all it is, a presentation. You decide if it's made a difference in your life. That's your decision. So what is your answer?
Well, I think it has definitely made a difference in my life, a difference in my perception of what life is, and how to connect with the whole of life. But what I want to know is, could it have been done by some uncanny method without the new presentation surfacing, without the advent of the new man? That is what I'm. That's what beclouds my mind.
Well, look at the sun shining, Charles. It demonstrates the all is. Prior to this, and even what Paul brought out, did you recognize it?
Sorry, that gave you well.
Again, the sun is demonstrating the isness life is, as one example. Everything is demonstrating it. And so prior to what I've presented here, and even Paul, and anything in history, just take anything at all. Did you recognize it? Are you recognizing it? Are you on your way to recognizing it without any of that and up to the new presentation? And if it wasn't here, if all of it wasn't here, would you recognize the isness life is?
Certainly not. Certainly not.
No,
even
you wouldn't.
Yeah,
that's why you're here, and that's why it's happened. Because again, and each person, just like myself, there's no destiny to this stuff. This is nonsense. Prophecy is nonsense. It's cause and effect. It's all nonsense. It's marketing ploy, getting people to think a particular way, thinking that, oh, it's your destiny to do this or whatever. No, it's choice. I decided to do it. I didn't have to do it. No one has to do anything. But I decided to do it. I took the risk. I just jumped in. And I didn't know what I was getting into. I just said, I'll do it. And here it is. I figured it out. I just kept at it till I figured it out. And so again, you have the answer, and that is no. It takes a whole lot to recognize a very small amount. And so, again, this is where the gratitude comes in. I'm very, very grateful. I've done all of this because I'm grateful for what I have come to know. And so I'm expressing my gratitude by creating all of this for everyone. And see, this is what's so cool is that I get to stand real with the is and the real guides, and they back it all because nobody else has backing in this world. I don't care how good things look. They have no backing by life itself and the real guides. That's very special. Oh, they got the gods and the angels and the demons. Yeah, that's their backing, and they're standing armies on the earth. Oh, yeah, they look cool. They've got nothing, just more destruction. More self-destruction and agreement. But yes, I'll let each person answer that question themselves. I'm not going to tell people what the answer is. Each person decides. If they want it, fine. If they don't, fine. It's their choice. I'm on my adventure. I'm presenting it. That's my part. That's the new presentation. I didn't put it in a category because I didn't want a category. There is no category. It's a real reference to what is, and this is what's so cool about it. Who will see it? I can see it. And so again, that's my adventure. I'm simply sharing it. You decide what it is for you, Charles, and everyone else. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you, Duane. The is a product of recognition and perception. And until one met you, one never knew about this. So I'm really grateful for knowing the new presentation, coming in contact with it. It has refined my my quests. At first, one was beating about the bush, searching here and there. And now, in fact, there is just nothing to search for, nothing to quest for, because everything is. So, but it takes this perception and true recognition to know it. So, thank you for that. Now, one of the questions I want to ask you. You've talked about your books as just a reference to the true reality. And we find that some books, some so-called books, sacred books, were removed by the controllers of the controllers and the authoritarians from what you call, in quotes, the Holy Bible. Do you think some of these proscribed books could have provided a good reference for the East, but were banned because of the reference to real freedom and real truth that they might have contained?
That's a good question. I'm glad you asked it. And here's the idea. Okay, so let's take the new presentation and everything I'm presenting, all right, because it's really more revealing than anything that they supposedly have, which is the Dead Sea Scrolls, and very aptly named because they are dead. And so let's take the new presentation and everything that I've created with it, and let's give it to the politicians or the religious people or the spiritual people, okay? Let's just do that for the moment. Let's pretend. Now they've got it in their hands. Now, what would you imagine what would come from all this because of their intent and what they really see, and mainly what they don't see and don't know? What would you say what would come of
it? In fact, first, I think they will not make any sense out of it. And then the few...
I have to laugh at that. Yes, go ahead. Yes, sir. Thank you.
Yeah, the few who would understand a thing will try uh, to ban the books, to ban the references, which you call them references, but they will take that as the key, as the complete truth. They don't know that they are just stepping stones to real truth and real freedom. See, so the reactions would differ from person to person, depending on what some people have known previously. They will act differently. So that is what I think.
It would be kind of funny, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it would really be funny.
Yeah, well, just give one of the books to even one of the ISSS. What are they going to do? They're going to throw it in the trash. That's where it's going. Yeah. It's going to be filed in the round trash can. That's where it's going to be filed. Yeah. Yeah, that's exactly what it's going to be. And then what are they going to do? They're going to say, well, yeah, I read that as an idea, and it's interesting, but here's the real truth. What Harry is saying, that's the real truth. You see, all of a sudden, in an instant, it's nothing. Yeah. So it is what it is to each person, and they must decide to see it or not. And yes, and really, when you think about it, we'll just say that idea, or even imagine it, what are these so-called secrets that the Vatican is holding, etc.? It's really about more torture and more control. That's really what it is. Yeah, so again, that's why things have been changed and kept mysterious and all that. It's so that people, the old saying, curiosity killed the cat. And that's what happens to people. They become curious and they become nothing. Again, this is the game. This is all part of the game that the controllers use. This is all a game to them, just like the old days of the Colosseum, where they watched the gladiators out there fight each other, and they cheered when one stabbed and destroyed the other. This is a game, and just like the fires we have in California, most people aren't aware, those are lasers from spaceships and satellites. Look at what's happening. These houses are being blasted, and the trees around them, some of the places are not even burnt. And the cars with melted rims and all that, fires don't do that. Just like 9/11 with the burning building didn't melt the steel. That was all explosives that did all that. There was other things going on, and lasers also hitting those buildings that people don't see. That's what's happening. This is a game to them. We're on the game board here. How long do people want to keep agreeing with it and thinking that, oh, these are natural disasters, we'll deal with it? They're destroying all the oxygen in the world on purpose. It's purposely done. Wake up or don't. And yeah, it is part of the wake up, but at the same time, you got to deal with it. And how aware are you? And most people are going to be emotionally attached and emotionally grieved and wrapped up in their personal drama. And so all of a sudden, just like the people in Fukushima, which I've said many times before, go to the real side and you'll see them. They are screwed up because of the emotional impact when that wave hit and they were gone in a split second. That sticks with them for untold lifetimes. And when they come back into here or anywhere, they got to deal with it again and they got to start over. That's how weird this place gets. So again, backing up a little bit, yeah, creation has its point, but at a certain point, you want to get beyond all the restrictions of it, or you don't. You keep agreeing with it. So yeah, we're in a very interesting situation here, and all your questions are very worthwhile, Charles. Thank you for asking, because people need to know. They need to know what's going on here, or they don't. It's all choice, and this is what people don't see. They're thinking that, oh, someone else is going to make the choice, like the governments or the gods or their angels or their saviors. Well, guess what? They can't make the choice for you. They can provide whatever they provide, And yes, we go to the store, and my friend Dave, he owns a water store. He provides water, so that's cool. I'm very grateful for the service he provides, and I've told him many times, it's like, Dave, I'm so glad you're here, because you know what? I don't really see anyone else doing it like you're doing it. So good for you, and I'm so grateful that you're here. I am grateful. And so this is a benefit. But what we're experiencing here today, most of it is not a benefit, and it's just chalked off as natural disasters, which it's not. It's all programmed. It's all to be so. It's time to wake up. And whether people believe it or not, they like to use those ideas and hope it will get better. That's an illusion. Things are as what is decided. That's really what it is. And the isness life is who will take the time to recognize that. And it must be recognized. And then from there, you decide to demonstrate it or not, take on the adventure. Again, each person makes the choice. So this is where we are. And I'm so glad you're there, Charles. You stepped up. Yes. You've come a long way in the several years that we've known each other. And I would say from all those years in the corporation, it's a lot better, isn't it?
Certainly, Duane. In fact, a lot better. There's a relaxation. There's no anxiety over what will happen to one. Seems the quest has ended. Meanwhile, it has just begun, So that's all I can say, really. I can just grateful to be there, to have found a new presentation, to be part of it in my own small way. And I hope to learn more and step up my awareness more and more as time goes on. So I'm grateful for everything.
Thank you so much, Charles. You're wonderful. You really are. Thank you. Yes, you've helped activate this, and it's very important because otherwise, yes, it doesn't happen. And so, again, the projects and what we're doing here, presenting to the world, taking on the adventure and the rest to do so, it's very important. And those who have stepped up, that are stepping up and doing something, they see this. Because there is no personal life here. There's a bigger picture, real survival, and that is to where everyone survives. And so that's the whole idea of presenting this, because very few people will pick up on this. So it doesn't matter how much effort we put here, most people will not see it. But again, I like the adventure. As long as I'm here, this is what I'm doing. This is where I'm at right now. And this is all I focus on. And, being with those people that step up and are real, want to be real, and do something real, it's so cool.
The other night, there was, on the TV, they were giving awards for supporting actors. And they're not the stars of the show, like the big names and all the big stars, but these are supporting actors. Without them, the movie or the experience would not be whole, or really they give a roundness and a wholeness to the movie or the entertainment or whatever it is. So they were given awards for this. That's great, and recognized for their contributions. So one morning I was doing this. This was in the morning. I'm not really quite awake and not really asleep. I'm just thinking about the new you and all of this. And I was also thinking about the awards that were given to people that really made the whole picture real and more complete. and thinking, well, I am not a star. The boys are the stars. Um, you are everyone. So where am I? What do I do? And I've been looking at myself and seeing what are my hang-ups exactly. What is keeping me from realizing that I am whole and everything? And for years, I've seen what it is. What just didn't have the maybe the awareness, or didn't make the right choices, or whatever it was. At any rate, this was the right time for me to realize I am a supporting star in my own way. And suddenly all the shackles just lifted and let go. And when we face and you've said this so many times, when we face ourselves and really let go, then you become freer. And this is what's happened to me. I surely do feel real and have a lot more confidence in myself, because I know that I am supporting the all is, and I am aware. And this is very exciting, really it is, to know that there is each thing we go through is letting go and being more free, and being able to recognize what's happening, and being a part of it is so wonderful. And that was my experience. Thank you.
That's terrific, Lila. It really is. Yes, it's really all very simple. And that is that as each individual has the courage to see this and step up and support it realistically, whenever they can, if it's financially, personally, sharing on Facebook, whatever it is, to have the courage to share it. Guess what? Because we're really promoting the boys, Rebazar and the boys, and the all is, as the real guidance. That's really what I'm doing. They will support you. You see, that's how it works. So everything equals itself. So people want things to happen. They do the new you. They want certain things to happen. Well, realistically, that's how you start off, and you read the books, etc. You get the idea. That's kind of like reading the owner's manual with your car. But until you get in and drive it, you're in the prelude part, you might say. But when you really step up and do something, and then, like the sun shining, you see, what does the sun demonstrate the most? Sincerity. It doesn't stop shining. It always shines. And this is how life is. This is how Rebs are and the real guides are. They don't stop. But we decide to stop and go. We decide to hang on or not. See, it's recognizing you make the decision. And so you decide, to be a supporter or not in some particular way. And so, again, I've always just basically did everything I can to support this, promote this, whatever this reality, to create all that I have. Ava and I, and all the images, the thousands of images we've created since we've been together over 4 years, on and on every day, the Facebook groups. And I really never see it as enough. So, again, yes, that's how it works. And yes, as you face yourself and you realize, we're all supporters. We stand real. That's the idea of standing real, is to support the reality that truly supports us, to recognize that we have the physical sense, the physical bodies. Fine, that's a given. We don't have to constantly go over and over and over these things. This is really kind of the baby brain stage here. Even though people think they know this or that, life is bigger. When you really stand real with life, there is no you. There's all of life, and you are the view with this reality. It is what it is, and it is perfect. It is already complete. That makes sense. Why keep struggling with an incompleteness, a demise, an incorrectness, you might say, that just keeps stumbling upon itself? Does that make sense? It makes more sense to face it all and just stand real and do something real that makes sense with those struggling here, including yourself. So yes, I'm a supporter too. I support the boys in the all-natural environment, which is all of life. I've just said it in a particular way. This is my life. It's not something I do, like many people are into things or into the corporation. That's something they do. Their personal life comes first. There is no personal life. There's only the isness, and it's up to you when you recognize that. And yes, again, Lila, good for you. As you see this, as you simply face yourself and all these funny things that we've decided, you see that what value do they have? There is only one value, and that is the isness life is. And when you recognize it, when you fully recognize it, then you really see how endless it is. And it's always like the first step into it. It's always like the first step, and every step is new. It's so cool, but you got to see it. And so, yes, as you step forward and support what's going on here or anywhere with this reference to this true reality, well, then life supports you. It's just that simple. We don't need to beg. We just need to become more aware and make choices and figure it out. It's not that you're going to make always the right choice, because the personal self is limited. It doesn't see everything. But that's okay. At least you're trying. You see, making the effort, not just sitting there listening and doing nothing. See, we already did that with the seminars. We already did that in the corporation. We sat there and listened to the master on stage who looked down upon us. See, we don't need that anymore. Now it's doing. That's why I've created the projects. And we're doing the benefit concerts, etc. And so again, it's stepping up. It's like, you want to be a part of this, well, you have to step up, you have to contribute. And this is how real life gets. So in other words, hey, you can get down there on the playing field and do your part, or you can sit in the stadium and watch. Is that going to be your experience? I'd rather be on the playing field, and it's more difficult. It's the bigger challenge, trying to get to the goal, etc. Trying to do something here while we're here. Yeah, it's a decision you make, each person makes. But yes, all of us are valuable, but you create your own value. You create a real value. You can do that with yourself by stepping up and doing something, just taking the risk. That's all. Take the risk. And every time you do, it will show up. It will always show up, but you got to take the risk. It's like, well, in other words, people want a guarantee. It's like, well, if I do this, will I get a better job? Will I make more money? There's no guarantee. You see, again, it's not about that. You got to take the risk to see what happens. And then you'll figure it out. And pretty soon you really see it. So yes, you need all sides of it, good, bad, or indifferent. Through my experience of this over the years, after a while I figured that, you know what, I had to do it wrong before I get it right, because I went into so many things and took the risk with so many things, lost a lot of money, this or that, tried to do the so-called right thing with all of this. We'll just use that idea, but instead ended up losing a lot of money, a lot of situations, etc. But eventually I figured it out, and constantly figuring it out. But I always took the risk. I always stepped up. Well, everybody else just watched. And those are the people that just kind of fade away, and they fade back into their little personal lives, and they'll just grow old. That's their choice. That's not belittling them. They have made the choice. I choose to stand real with the boys, and anybody can do this. And it takes a lot. It's a huge challenge. And everything's going to come at you. That's how it is. That's why most people don't do this, because they're afraid. They're afraid to face life. They're afraid to face themselves. They're afraid. They've been taught to be afraid. Well, you don't have to be, but you decide. And if you stay in fear, then all you do is reincarnate again. And I give many examples of that. It's very real. I've seen it. Because fear goes nowhere. you got to step up. You got to take the risk. Yes, thank you. Thank you for sharing, Lila. Thank you, Charles. You've come in loud and clear. It's really great. And so, again, you've helped activate this. I need help myself. And as you bring the questions in and things that make sense, etc. So, yes, let's take on this challenge and this adventure, see what we can do with this world, and have fun with it. Yes, very, very real. We're real and we're wonderful. Yes, thank you for all the support, everybody. We'll see you next time.